Side of the debate are you on? Are you with the landlords or are you with the tenants?
Government needs to stop manipulating the economy and printing money so that we can get rid of inflation first. This is not a solution. If you can't get a mortgage or afford a mortgage, don't get one. So she's saying, like, you shouldn't be complaining about landlords because if you can't own a property, like, obviously you have to rent.
So essentially, for the people that are listening, after November 15th, 2018, there's no rent control. So after a year, the landlord's free to raise it as much as they want.
The step-by-step process of what they were going to be doing with that $40 billion over the decade, what has changed?
Nothing.
And what's going to change? Absolutely nothing. We got Sam in the house again today. Don't you love it when Sam's back there?
I love Sam. He's brightens up my day.
Yeah, I wish I could look at Sam while I'm doing this podcast. But hey, we're episode 7.
We made it to
Episode 7.
Yeah, and we're coming at the world from the surface of the freaking sun today.
Jesus, he's so positive.
No, seriously, it's freaking hot out there.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure what you meant by that.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
You've been like,
yeah, it's like 40.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm in whatever fits mode. Okay, so it's 44 degrees outside. Feels like it.
Yeah.
I know.
Mom was wearing a dress.
Nice.
Every day.
You look good. You look
Thank
fresh.
you.
But yeah, the stat was most podcasts, they never actually make it past episode 7.
Yeah.
So people make it, they start out, they
Yeah.
have these goals, they want to go far, and then episode 7 just comes and they never go past that.
Because
So
it takes
are
a while for podcasts to get going. So it's
Yeah.
not like, you
Yeah.
go viral on episode 7.
Speaking of going, we just went viral.
We did.
Oh, yes.
We did.
We're gonna talk
We
about
did.
that.
We're viral.
Okay.
We have like a
Our
quarter of a
TikTok.
million views. We have 500 million views right now.
Half a billion.
Half a billion.
No, 270,000 views.
So
On
lot.
TikTok, yeah.
On
But it's
your-
because we were talking about something political, okay?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to back just a
I
little
know.
bit. I'm ahead of you.
Politics, baby.
It's but housing is a serious topic. So I want to have some fun. And I want to go through some of the comments. Have you guys gone through the comments on TikTok yet?
No, not really.
Okay, so
I haven't seen any
a
of
lot
them.
of people are just saying, like, how about making it so they only raise rent by 1% from the previous year? That would really help renters a lot more. Because I believe last year was 2.5%. They could raise it.
2 years have been 2.5%.
Which is not a lot, but then a lot of comments. If someone asks for any of this, I'll simply rent to someone else. And just for perspective, for anybody who's listening to this episode, it was based off of the Renter Bill of Rights, saying that landlords have to disclose what the previous rents were. But a lot of people, if anybody asks for any of this, I'll simply rent to anybody else.
Well, I think you're going to have, like, obviously if we went through this, but if it's on MLS, it's going to be very transparent what the previous tenant was paying. I don't think it makes, like, the general consensus, like, you can look up, like, let's just say we're 4 years from now, in 2028, you can see the average rents for a 2-bedroom condo in Mississauga in 2024.
Yeah.
But
And
I think
backtrack from there.
it's for private sales. Like, if you're going to go on Facebook Marketplace, a lot of people find rentals because a lot of landlords don't want to pay commissions to the realtors, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to go on Facebook Marketplace and they're going to try to rent it themselves.
Yeah.
And if you're the person posting and I say, "Excuse me, sir, can you tell me what the last tenant was?" and they don't want to, like, what am I going to do? Go report you to the landlord tenant board and go through all of that? Like, I get what people are saying, and for landlords, if you ask me that, I'm just going to go rent to somebody else.
What side of the debate are you on? Are you with the landlords or are you with the tenants? And so you see a landlord, for example, he's renting his place out for $1,500 to a tenant, let's say, who's been there for 10 years. Right next door, there's another landlord renting their place out for $2,500, the standard price or whatever. The issue is now this landlord that's been, hasn't been raising their price at all. All he could do is raise his rent by what? 2.5%.
Sure, yeah.
Because he's been so nice to that tenant year after year after year.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a debate there. It's like, well, what should that landlord suffer now with this?
Okay, so I'm happy that you brought that up because I'm going to get to that because there was a battle in the comments
Okay.
between two people, okay? But before we get there, what was the other one? They don't rent to you. They just won't rent to you if you don't like it. You can request it. They'll just ignore you. So a lot of those comments, where is it? Hold on. Sorry. This person says, I charged $400 last year. I'm charging $1,000 this year. Where do you live? Like, you're obviously,
they're probably renting out
not in the
bedrooms.
GTA. Government needs to stop manipulating the economy and printing money so that we can get rid of inflation first. This is not a solution. This one really got me because I was like, oh, what if this actually happened? Will grocers have to show what prices of bread was 5 years ago or how much gas was 5 years ago?
But you can you can go back
can Google
historical data and look at how much the price if you're really curious. But it doesn't change anything. At the end of the day, you need gas today. Yeah. You need a place to live today.
And you need a
you're
loaf
either
of bread.
paying the price or you're moving along.
Disclosing what the last tenant paid isn't going to change anything.
No. I agree.
Everybody knows that the only reason why a landlord wants to get a tenant out is because they want to get somebody else in that's going to pay them an extra $1,000, extra $1,200. So the issue is, I've had clients come up to me saying, hey, Jen, I'm looking for a new place. I want something bigger. I want a 2-bedroom. Right now I'm in a 1+1. And I ask them, how much are you paying? And when they tell me what they're paying, I'm like, you do not want to be moving. Yeah. For that exact same amount of money that you're paying, you're never going to get anything close to it. And even if we go above that budget by $500 to even $1,000, you're not even going to get the same place that you're in.
Right.
That's true.
So it's, I don't understand what's going to happen by disclosing what the last tenant paid.
I don't know. Okay, so this was
how is this a benefit to anybody?
Well, it's not. Okay, so someone said we need to put more laws into place, and then our team, the Fresh Approach, replied, are there any specific laws you want to be enacted? Rent increase caps, which I think is they have that right now, 2.5%.
Yeah, they already have that, right? Yeah.
A stricter eviction laws, which they're putting in place. Restriction on investors trying to get into the housing market. And then this person, Ashley, aka Ashley to Bubs, if you can't afford a down payment or be approved for a mortgage, you shouldn't be complaining about landlords. His response: landlords are supposed to provide housing, but they want the tenant to pay all the cost of their mortgage. If you can't get a mortgage or afford a mortgage, don't get one. So she's saying, you shouldn't be complaining about landlords because if you can't own a property, obviously you have to rent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They go back and forth. She says, yes, landlords provide housing. However, they don't have to provide a cheap, free housing. Why do you think someone else has to support you because you can't purchase your own house? Everything went up. And they go back and forth.
Okay,
she goes in, obviously a landlord is taking the risk in buying a property and renting it out to a tenant, right? So she's saying, why do you have to make, the rent affordable just because you can't afford a mortgage? Yeah. Is she wrong or is she right? It's kind of rude. The way she put it is kind of rude, but I see her point.
I see her point as well.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to read something here. So basically the other day, Trudeau's Liberal government, Trudeau specifically said, Gen Zs and millennials are the engine of our economy. They're the ones that are, at the service stores. They're the ones that are basically doing everything right now. They're the ones, the new researchers, the new young entrepreneurs, the young parents, all this stuff. They're the ones that are now in these positions that aren't able to rent. They're the ones that are the engine of our economy, and they're not able to rent at all. Then he went and said, the most ambitious and comprehensive housing plan this country has ever seen is about to go into place to help these people. Nothing is being done.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm completely changing gears here with the topic.
Yeah.
But the thing is, these are the people that are working very hard that are unable to afford the rent. It's not like it's people that are doing nothing with their lives unable to afford their rent. So
100%,
that's where the issue is. It's where do you go from there?
But a lot of people are bashing landlords and investors because they feel that they're jacking up the cost of living right now, rent-wise. Because if mortgage rates are going up, obviously, if interest rates are going up, mortgage rates are going up. Yeah. Which in turn, if a landlord is allowed to raise your rent after November 18th, 2018, he can do so. So it's like a non-ending cycle that. Or a revolving cycle of a battle of saying, I want affordable housing, but landlords are being abusive.
So I will say in my experience, I know a lot of people in those comments did complain about the rent control thing. So essentially, for the people that are listening, after November 15th, 2018, there's no rent control. So after a year, the landlord's free to raise it as much as they want. But in my experience, as long as, the tenant is paying their rent on time, taking really good care of the place, the landlord's not increasing the rents by an astronomical amount. because then they're likely the tenant's just gonna move and they're gonna have to pay to get it re-rented out again, get it painted clean, that sort of thing. So I've never, obviously it's happened here and there, but I would say the general consensus of it doesn't happen.
But one of the comment back to this chick was, tenants are not responsible for covering increased cost of you managing an investment property. If you can't afford to manage an investment property, sell it, even at a loss.
So what are they saying, that if you sign up for a rental today at $2,500 and you live there for 10 years, you should pay $2,500 for 10 years?
I think that's what he's trying to say. Like, it should be somewhat affordable, but honestly, like, inflation happens, right? Things cost more over 10 years.
Everything costs more over 10 years. So why is the cost of housing any different? If you're owning, it's obviously based on interest rates, but I don't agree with that. I think the rental should go up every year as everything else does.
If you can't afford rent or the increases, you won't be able to afford a mortgage and maintain the bills. Imagine the landlord selling your house because you said if you can't afford it, sell it. Then what? Are you going to accept that? There's a huge risk to buying a house and renting it out, which she's right.
Yep.
You get entitled people who think they deserve a free place to live and then destroy the place when they don't get their way. Which, I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah.
You get people that, I mean, it goes on. You guys should check it out.
I'm gonna check it out
battle.
after.
It's actually really funny. And they both have points. But there has to be a common ground.
What I've seen is the blood is boiling out there. There's people on both sides, the tenants, landlords, and all of this stuff is just bubbling. There's nothing that's really being done by the government. The government keeps saying that they're going to do something. I know we're going to go deep into the housing plan right now, but it's just broad strokes. What's being done? Like, here, I'm going to just read something, okay? Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau unveiled his plans to address Canada's housing crisis. It involved a $40 billion investment spread over 10 years, a plan some critics believe won't do enough to address the issues faced now. In the streets, people were protesting, saying, we're hungry, we're angry, and we have no place to stay. Guess when this was? 7 years ago. Wow. That's when that article came out. So, like I said, we have a new housing plan that you're going to be talking about. But 7 years ago, this is what Justin Trudeau was saying, the Justin Trudeau's Liberals, that we're going to be unveiling this. And they were talking about the step-by-step process of what they were going to be doing with that $40 billion over the decade. What has changed?
Nothing.
And what's going to change? Absolutely nothing. We're seeing rent in Toronto right now, a 2-bedroom is going for $3,300.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's nuts.
$3,300. A 1-bedroom is going for just under that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. So one thing I don't like. I think Canada is one of the greatest countries in the world. Can you agree?
I can agree.
Yeah.
You were just saying something about we have free healthcare.
Yeah, we have free healthcare, and I saw something on TikTok. Like, everyone knows, if you're watching, that I'm expecting a baby in 3 months.
Yeah.
In the States, if you are having a baby and you don't have insurance, it's going to cost you like $20,000-$30,000 just to go to the hospital and have a baby.
Yeah.
And then you're paying that off for months on end, years on end, if you don't have insurance. Even if you have insurance, you want to get in and out of the hospital as quick as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And with your insurance coverage, you're still paying a couple grand.
Yeah.
Cost you so much money to have a baby, even like to go to a walk-in clinic.
Yeah.
Like, we should be so grateful for so many things in Canada.
Do you want to hear something crazy? So
Always.
I was living in the States for 3 years in Los Angeles. There was a guy at the Starbucks I tried to get into the bathroom. The door wasn't open, so I was waiting there. I was working on something. And finally, I was like, somebody's been in the bathroom for like an hour. Like, I wonder what's going on. So I told the person working at the desk, I thought maybe the door was just locked.
Yeah.
I'm like, there can't be anybody in there. So I was like, I think your door's locked. This door's been locked for an hour. They opened the door. There was somebody passed out on the floor. I immediately go into like my Canadian mode. I got to help this person. We love helping people here. And you know who I am. I'm just that type of person. I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody, like, get this guy some water. I'm like pulling him out, everything. He was a homeless person who had overdosed. I go to pick up my phone, or I'm like, can somebody call the ambulance? And immediately everybody just started looking around. They said, if we call the ambulance and that man denies care, you have to pay the ambulance cost. I was like, F this, pricked up my phone, called the ambulance showed up, and we saved his life.
Wow.
The guy's alive today. That's the America that, you know what I mean? So
that's crazy. That's insane.
Coming back to Canada, one thing I do have to say is,
I shouldn't laugh, but
greatest country on the planet.
Wow.
I've lived in over 10 countries, traveled to 30. This country, sure, there's some things that are, that are not okay. What I don't like is how these parties, I'm not going to say which one's which, how they're putting each other down, and at the same time they're bringing down Canada as a country. The people need to change, and in turn the country will change. There's certain people that we just need to change. You know what I mean? Be the change that you want to see. The change always begins with ourselves.
That was a good rant.
Yeah.
Those are the people.
I agree, though. I agree. There should be some change in Canada. I don't know the stats, but it has to be the most one of the most expensive countries in the world.
I think it's
right.
It's definitely getting up there, based on cities too, like Vancouver, Toronto.
Yeah. So are we gonna jump into the housing plan on this?
Well, first I want to talk about interest rates.
Okay, yes.
Okay, we want to talk about interest rates because it did. What day is it today, guys?
Today, June
20th.
June 20th. So a couple weeks ago, they lowered the interest rates.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, we might have to save it for the next episode because I went into a wormhole. So we'll see. But I want to switch gears and actually talk about the market right now because the interest rates, in my opinion, did diddly squat. The lower of the interest rate. Yeah. It did nothing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone thought, I mean, everyone had their opinion on what was going to happen, if they were going to decrease, if they were going to keep it the same. They ended up decreasing.
Yep.
And everyone...
I told you.
Yeah.
You did tell us. Yeah, we have episode 5 to...
Everyone, no, you were right. I'll give you it.
I just felt like because Canada just loves to follow around the U.S. and normally they don't do anything unless the U.S. does it. Historically.
Yeah.
So that's why I knew they should have. And so good job, Alex. You're the economist of choice.
I'm the economist of choice.
Until you're wrong next time.
But you have to think too, like,
ladies and gentlemen,
realistically throughout the rest of the year, right? What's going to happen? I know we talk about this almost every episode, but in July, what's going to happen? They're probably going to hold and see what happens with inflation numbers, right?
Yeah.
September. What did Jeff say the other day, that they really don't lower interest rates when there's a U.S. election?
Oh, yeah. Historically.
That's next year, no? Or is that this year?
This year.
The U.S. elections this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
There was a couple other things that he was saying. Historically, when there's a U.S. election, there's a few things. So I'll have to dig that up.
I mean,
but that
we'll
was
see
very
about
interesting.
September, but I think they'll do another 0.25% in September.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I had a pop for lunch with my lunch. And I think that they'll do another 0.25% in December. Yeah. That's my prediction.
I was reading a report that came out from RBC that said they're predicting 2 quarter-point decreases before the end of the year.
But again, like I've said, I feel like a broken record. They're not going to do it over like one over the other, over the other, over the other.
No, definitely not.
But in my opinion, too, the market has not done anything.
Yeah.
It's stale.
It's pretty stale,
It's like a hot room with no air flowing through it. Like, it's just yucky.
I mean, things are still selling. Again, like
things
based on different markets, every micro market is a little bit different. But the activity that everyone thought they would see from this interest rate cut has not happened whatsoever.
Wasn't May like a historically low month?
It was. We were down 5.6%, I think.
From last year,
I think it was a very sleepy month, and that's very rare because May's usually a very bumping month for real estate. Also, I was reading something here. Many Canadians are yet to renew their rates. With the higher
that's coming
rates.
up, yeah.
So that's actually put a lid on a lot of things as well. So it's just, we're in this position where a lot of sellers are thinking that a lot of people that are sitting on homes with low interest rates right now with their fixed mortgages, they're thinking by the time the renewals come, the government will have slowly reduced the rates down.
And I was just going to say that by the time, the end of this year happens and then going into next year, the renewals that are going to be happening in 2025, they might actually hit like a sweet spot when it comes to renewals. Like, they're not going to be at 5-6%, right? They might be at in between 4 and 5, which is kind of normal. It's not even that bad.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact thing that was said, but Trudeau also came out and said something that, housing can't dramatically decrease because a lot of these older people are depending on it for their retirement. So there's no chance he's not going to allow like for any sort of crash to happen.
Wow. Yeah.
Jeez.
I love my daddy. Remember that TikTok trend when he was giving Serbo to everybody? He was giving Serbo to everybody left, right, center. Then people were like, I love my daddy. He's not going to let the housing market crash for these old people. I love the old people. I mean, my dad's actually 78.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, so when I say I love the old people.
Yeah. You're talking about your own dad.
Yeah, I'm talking about my dad. No, but he's a young buck though. Like, you wouldn't even know he was 78. He's goes he's like 30,000 steps a day.
Jeez.
Good for him. I don't even do that.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was we were looking at so when it came to the interest rates. rates came down. That entire week, nothing changed.
No.
I didn't see anything change. If anything, things got a little bit slower.
Because, you know why? Again, because it only affected the variable rate.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going 3-year fixed.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. That was the way to go the last 12 months. Just because the variable rate came.
We still have activity.
Yeah.
We have buyers out there. We have sellers. As a team right now, we have 20 listings almost.
A little bit more than that, yeah.
And
none of them
you
are
just
moving.
listed something today. But the thing is, in terms of the psychology, the buyers didn't say, yeah, let's go buy. And the sellers, they didn't say, let's go list. There was nothing. There wasn't a big eruption that everyone was expecting.
No.
I think we were waiting, like, again, as you said, it only affects the variable rates, but historically, like, it's been a mindset thing. Like, when we look back to last year, when they decreased the rates, and like when they increased the rates, right, everyone stopped. But when they decreased it, people came back to the market. I think everyone was expecting that same thing to happen, and it just hasn't happened.
But what did you say to me the other day? Like, people are stuck on the February.
Oh, yeah. Sellers are living in February 2022, and buyers want it to be like 2008.
Yeah. And
So-
it's like, that's, in my opinion, that's what's happening right now. You have very greedy sellers. Everybody wants the most for their home, when in reality, your home is still worth a lot more than it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So put the greed to the side. And I understand everyone wants every single penny, but the buyers dictate the prices.
Exactly. And it all comes down to motivation as well, right? Like, if you have a seller that doesn't necessarily need to sell.
Why are you on the market then?
Because they want to test it out. They want to see if they can sell. They're open to moving.
It's true.
But they don't need to move, right? So they're saying, if I get my number, I get my number. But then you have
I
sellers.
feel like I'm bitter about that, because I'm going through like an investment purchase right now with some clients, and people on the investment side who have like $2, $3, $4 million homes are saying, well, they don't really need to sell. Well, then why are you putting your investment on the market? You obviously need to sell your investment.
Put yourself in their shoes, though, okay? Like, their client is your client, and they come to you and say, Alex, I want to list my investment property.
I guess.
You're going to tell them, no, I'm not going to list this for you. Then they're going to go down to list it with Jinder, right?
It's true. Okay, I get that. But I mean, I don't know. It's annoying.
Get a grip of your emotions, Al.
It's annoying. I'm pregnant, okay? I'm allowed to be emotional.
Go shower. I'm kidding.
Inside
There's
joke.
no context at all for that.
Inside joke.
Yeah, Alex is taking 4 showers a day right now.
Oh, fuck, it's 45 degrees outside. But no, like, the greed of sellers is so real right now.
100%. They're just not
they
realistic.
They want to test the market. It's annoying.
There's a lot of it's funny how, because we always talk about the emotions when it comes to real estate as well. There's people that are angry right now and people that are greedy right now. And I was actually reading a couple things, because I'm all about my mental health, and I don't even call it mental health. I just, my joy and happiness and whatever, right? So when things are going really good, people are happy. When things are going really bad, sellers aren't getting the price that they want. Things are going really bad for them mentally. But I actually wanted to jump into this is just something really fun here. So there was actually a study done on happiness recently, and I know we talk about things like interest rates lead to people being upset and like all these things, but there's actually this model called the happiness pie. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
Okay, so normally when people think about happiness, they think about external things. Like if something bad is happening on the outside in their world, they're going to feel bad on the inside. If the real estate market is not doing well, you're going to feel a little bit worse, like things like that. Well, this happiness pie, there's all these doctors that studied happiness. This model, it actually determined that happiness is actually 50% genetics, okay?
Huh.
Okay, so there's a set point. That's when you see people that are pessimistic or optimistic.
Okay.
And I think that we're a pretty optimistic team generally.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like to we see what's happening, and I'm sure you've walked clients through like the biggest storms of their life, right?
Yep.
So we have to be that. And then 10% is actually life circumstances. So that TikTok that we posted about the renter's bill of rights?
Yep.
That's a circumstance situation. And it has the ability to tip the scale, but it's only 10% of the happiness scale.
Interesting.
So some of those people in those comments are just they're tipping their scale.
Yeah, they're
and
like,
going,
I'm pissed off.
How did they study this?
I'll get into that after, maybe off camera a little bit. And then the last one,
I think the viewers want to know.
And then the last one, the 40% is your personal choices, which is dictated by us. It's within our control.
Okay.
So 50%, it's your genetics. 10% is the things that happen to us. 40% is actually within our control.
So if you have miserable parents, you're more likely to be miserable?
Genetically, 50% of that.
50% of that.
According to this happiness study
Well,
that
at
was
least
done,
there's 50%
science-based.
that you can change yourself.
Yeah, so you have the personal choices, and then you have 60% circumstances, and what was it?
40%
Genetics.
is your personal choices, which is dictated within our personal control.
Yeah.
Right.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is because we're living in a we're seeing both sides of the political debate going on right now.
Yep.
We're seeing both sides. There's always polarity. There's the sellers, there's the buyers, there's the liberals, there's the conservatives. There's always something going on, which is trying to create chaos.
Yep.
And that's the 10%. It's the 40% that's going to determine how we go through this storm and how we come out of it. So I'm just saying.
I love your optimism, but not all Canadians are that optimistic. Canadians need change now, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday we need change.
But when I bring up something like 7 years ago, the Trudeau's Liberals were saying that they were injecting $40 billion into the housing plan.
Yep.
How can we wait for somebody? We need to start creating the change within ourselves today.
Yeah.
We can't sit around waiting for people for the rest of our life.
It's true.
It sucks when you see those people out there that are homeless, and then you have all these homes that are empty right now. Ian, you were just saying Toronto right now has...
Well, I don't know. Not all of them are vacant, right? But it's the most condo listings in history. So
yeah, the Toronto condo market. I mean, I'm not in Toronto. I'm in Oakville and Burlington, but I've heard that it's just like... It's barely moving. Yeah. But that's the time to buy.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's the time to buy.
If you're a buyer right now looking to move buy a condo in Toronto, now is the best time.
If you got that double land transfer tax money, do it.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
It is.
Land transfer tax.
So I was actually looking up some condos before coming here today for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting in... First, I put in 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Then I was like, screw this. It's a ghost town out there. There's so many that aren't selling. So I put in 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And I was like seeing penthouses that are sub-8 right now.
Wow.
Listed. I'm sure they're going to go for a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But nobody's offering on some of these. So I'm like, And I put in, all the best parameters. Like new, 0 to 5 years.
2 parking spots.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, there's some opportunity out there.
There
huge
is.
Opportunity.
This is a huge opportunity for buyers right now. I said that in the last podcast. The next 6 months, like it's your buying opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'll put this out there right now, you guys, for all you listeners out there. End of July and August is probably the best months to buy. Even though it might be lower inventory, a lot of people are just enjoying their summers, waiting for, school to start again. They're not really worried. Yeah. And the houses that are on the market, some of them may want to just test the market, but a lot of them are on the market for a specific reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Get in the market if you can.
Yeah.
Get in.
So the reason why I brought up that little bit of that happiness study or that optimistic high is, are you noticing with your clients, you have to have a lot of these conversations with them? Like they're saying, oh my gosh, this is what's happening here. This is what's happening there. Are you out there kind of like, no, as you're a mortgage broker as well. You're a real estate broker. Are you also a hope broker out there? Or are you just kind of, because I know you showed almost 20 properties to a single client. There's a lot of sellers that are not wanting to budge from that price.
100%. And I mean, it all comes down to education throughout the process. So it can be frustrating if you do put in offers and you don't get it, but it's all part of the process. Yeah. So like they're fully aware, start to finish, of how it's going to work. And you grow with them over time as you're going through that process.
Yeah.
I'm like, sign me up. Can I sign a BRA with you, bro? Right now.
There is that, but there's also like you said, I'm a mortgage broker, so I talk a lot about numbers with people.
Yeah, same.
Whereas when I put my real estate hat on, we talk about real estate. So when we're talking about numbers, sometimes I'm a heartbreaker. I'm not a hope giver because I have to say this is your budget, right? And on my budget spreadsheet, it's your mortgage payment, your property taxes. I have a little spot in there for groceries. I have everything needs to be added up.
It's amazing.
And some things people are like, holy crap, maybe I can't afford what I need to afford for my entire monthly budget. Because like we said a few podcasts ago too, like it's not just your mortgage and your property taxes. There's so many other things.
So much more you have to account for.
So you have to make the budget. And that's what I would describe myself as, a heartbreaker, but a hope maker at the same time. Because even though I'm breaking your heart with budgets, I'm giving you hope with giving you a realistic budget.
Absolutely.
And I feel like people appreciate that. A lot of agents out there, you get pre-approved for $1 million. You're shopping at the top end of that budget, and they don't care to go in depth.
They don't care to go in depth.
Any of that stuff, right?
And
but it's important.
Like we were just talking about when someone on the TikTok comments, are they going to tell you what a loaf of bread was 5 years ago? A loaf of bread's expensive now. It's not like it was 5 years ago.
Gluten-free bread.
Yeah, like Jesus.
Yeah, M's gluten free. It's like $12 a loaf.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Okay,
Make
so there's some
your own
good
You gotta
news
go to
for
St.
the-
Catharines to get it.
There is good news for the gluten-free people, but it takes work. So you can actually determine what the price of that bread is, and then go to the White Wonder bread, and then whatever the difference is, you can actually do a tax rebate at the end of the year. But you have to save all your receipts,
Yeah,
and you
Really?
got to do some
I don't
work.
know. I don't.
Wow.
Making
I
it
don't
hard
think
for
she does
us
that.
celiac, gluten-free people.
Oh, yeah, you're gluten-free too.
I know.
Yeah.
But no, coming back to what you said, that is incredible that your
Yeah.
clients have you to
Yep.
do that. I mean, that's what we all do. But there are agents out there that are literally just putting offers at the high end, and then they're just throwing their
Yeah, 'cause
buyers into the biggest friggin' hellhole of their life.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to do anything.
But a lot of realtors, not saying that our team is the best, and that's why I'm on the team, but a lot
Yeah.
of real estate agents don't, like you said, don't do that.
Yeah.
All they care about is what can you afford, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I don't think I'm going to have time to go into my housing plan, so I think we're going to have to save that for the next episode
Yeah, let's do
because
that.
it is a humdinger.
yeah.
Congrats on getting through episode 7.
Yeah. Guys,
We
bring
made it.
Yay, keeping it fresh.
Episode 7,
So
guys.
exciting.
Holy smokes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I know we have like all these people downloading our podcast. We don't even know what the stats mean, but
I don't.
do you have a
we gotta-
message for
we gotta
everybody
figure
who's
that out.
listening? Is to subscribe.
Oh my God. We will get there.
I know.
If you like what you hear, comment, subscribe, like,
There we go.
and you'll see more of our videos.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
You just tone it right down.
Tone it right down.
If you're
Get
listening
serious.
right now, we're
Just
talking to
put
you
the like button on.
directly. Subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
I can't
Sweet.
believe I was like half an hour already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys
Okay,
around.
we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Cheers.
100%.
Sounds good.